I just have natural interest in art. I draw a lot when I was a little kid. I just draw constantly. And I used to draw a lot of animals too. And probably because I watch so much Disney and I keep redrawing, tracing these Disney pictures. My parents also encouraged me to keep doing it. I had a dream of becoming a Disney or Pixar artist. So I keep drawing and drawing. I enjoy drawing too.
Who's to say that maybe you still have a shot at, working at Disney? You're tuning into the Fox and Burger podcast, where we bring you closer to the Asian side of the furry fandom, one episode at a time. I'm your host, Michael the Matcha Fox, and today we talked with B, an artist and fursuiter from Vietnam who currently lives in the US. In this episode, we talked about how B grew up in the busy city of Ho Chi Minh and how that compares to living in New Mexico and Oklahoma. We also discussed which Disney movies and anime inspired her to draw, and how she helped give back to the Vietnamese furry community with her artwork by aiding events like VietFur. We're really excited to finally sit down with B, so sit back, relax, have some coconut water, and enjoy the episode. Okay, so welcome B to the podcast.
Hi, Michael. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, you were like, man, I always begin every episode like this, but I'm trying to recall when I first talked to you. I think it was sometime this year, like in the beginning of the year, I think.
Okay.
I think it was like Bio who recommended you, actually. It might have been after the Bio and the Kusu episode, but yeah, they told us that you were kind of like big in the fandom over there, and then like later you moved to America. And so I was like, yeah, like this sounds like a really like good opportunity to learn about like not just the Vietnamese furry fandom, but like your life overall, like after moving to America.
Right. Well, so thank you, Bio and Kusu, for giving me a recommendation. That's very nice of you guys.
Yeah, shout out to those guys.
I'll try to give a lot of insights from my point of view. So just throw at me some questions. I'll try to answer.
Sure. First off, as always, tell us your name, your fursona, and where do you live right now?
My name is B. I think my close friends know me as Bio, like BYO, because that was the nickname that I used on the internet most of the time. But now I kind of want to change it to B because it feels like it's more of me, myself.
Mm-hmm.
And because that's the name that my parents gave me, and I want to appreciate that more. So that's why I changed to B now, yeah.
You're telling me that like your parents liked the show Bambi, so that's why they call you B, right?
That's correct.
I love that. That is amazing.
Yes, they really love that movie, so just call me B. It's easy to say it too, so that's a good bonus.
Yeah.
And you were asking about my fursona?
Yes.
Right now I have two fursonas. One is like a snowshoe rabbit. He's completely white, but he has canine teeth. Just because I thought it was cooler.
Snowshoe rabbit. So why a snowshoe rabbit?
I like the color white. I think it's pure and it's also easy to make fursuit of. You just find a white color.
Oh, right. Wow.
Simple as that.
Are you saying that you also do fursuiting, or do you do fursuit making as well, or?
I do fursuit too. I don't make fursuit, but I do fursuiting.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes,
cool.
I do have a full suit of my rabbit. For my other fursona, I don't have yet. I have a partial, but not a full one yet. Not yet.
Yeah, and we'll flash like all these pictures on the screen. Burger will edit that in post so that the audience can see what we're talking about. But
awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. A snowshoe rabbit fursuit, and then your second fursona is
Shiba Inu.
Oh wow!
Yes.
Is that what I'm seeing right now? On the profile picture, is that yours?
Yes, that's me.
Okay.
I make the rabbit. I make him really tall and handsome and cool and strong looking. I was like, that doesn't feel like me. It feels like someone I want to be, or like an idol that I look up to, or like a friend that I want to be friend with. It doesn't really feel like me. That's why I make a second fursona, which is the Shiba Inu. It feels more like me. She's smaller. and she's more
Yeah.
mischievous, so that's why
Ramen
she's there.
eater.
Yeah. So I'll keep two. I don't want to remove the rabbit as my fursona, because I feel like
I love your about me on Discord. It's like full-time sheep, part-time bunny. I'm like, I
yeah,
love
that's
that.
right. I was like, I'm indecisive, so I'll
Hmm.
just keep two. That's how they were born.
Did you say you have a fursuit for your Shiba, or is that in the works?
I do. I have a partial fursuit for the Shiba
Nice,
Inu. Her
nice.
name is Shibi,
Shibi.
and the rabbit is named Graffiti.
Okay, got it. Graffiti the rabbit, and then Shibi the sheep.
You got
Yeah.
it.
So where do you live right now?
I live in America right now, in Oklahoma.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yes, I moved here in 2020.
Oh wow.
Before that, I lived 2 years in New Mexico, in Albuquerque.
Hmm.
Yes,
And before that, you were like, if I'm not mistaken, like you were born and raised in Vietnam, right?
that's correct. I
What
moved.
city are you from?
Oh, Ho Chi Minh City. Shout
Oh,
out
from
to
Ho
Ho
Chi
Chi Minh
Minh.
City
Gotcha.
furries. Woohoo!
Wow, yeah. Isn't that like, is Ho Chi Minh where Kusu? I think Kusu's from Hanoi, but is Bio from Ho Chi Minh?
You got it right. Bio is
Oh
from
wow.
Ho Chi Minh City and Kusu is from Hanoi. That's correct.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I never been to Vietnam, but I'd love to go. I would really, really love to go to Vietnam.
Oh yeah, come visit Vietnam. I'm sure there'll be a lot of furries there
Hmm.
who can
I
take
did
you
get
around.
invited. There was
Yes.
like a group. There was like a big meetup like in Ho Chi Minh, I think. Do you
Mm-hmm.
know a Vietnamese fur? He's a fox by the name Ruinart.
Oh yes, I
Yeah.
do know him. Is he's from the north? He's from Hanoi, I think. I have not
Mm-hmm.
met him, but we talked a little bit on Telegram before. He's very nice and friendly.
He's a super friendly guy. He likes to poke me like every month, but I mean, I think what he studied in the UK, and
Okay.
I saw him for the first time at Tie Tales this year, which
Oh
is also,
nice.
I believe, the same year I saw Bio. I saw Kusu before. I think I saw Kusu back in like I think it was like 2018 for him, so that's like 5 years ago. But
Oh
I
wow.
saw Bio only this year, Tie Tales, and then I saw Ruinart as well. I think they might have been roommates, but don't quote me on that. So
Mm-hmm.
Ruin, he invited me to a big fur meet. I think what Hanoi, but well, there's two problems. One is very very sudden, right? Like I don't know if I had the money to fly to Hanoi. Well, I was living in Taiwan. I'm
Uh-huh.
well, just for reference. This is the first episode that I'm recording from Texas, so I'm technically B's neighbor right now. I'm back
Yeah.
in Texas. I'm visiting my family, and I fly out to Taiwan tomorrow. So we're recording this in CST time zone. We normally would be recording in was it GMT +8, but yeah, this is the first episode I think that we're actually recording in America. Surprisingly, so I was in Taiwan at the time when Ruin asked me, but it still costs money to fly. And then the second
That's
thing is
true.
like Americans need visas, I think, to get to Vietnam. So I would have to still apply for a visa. So
Right.
I'm not sure how long that would take, but I think it wouldn't be fast enough to get to the meet. But that's nice of him to invite me because again, I never been to Vietnam, but I'd love to go. I love Vietnamese food. I'll say that.
Yes. Oh, what's your favorite Vietnamese food?
Pho.
Nice. That's my favorite thing too. I can
Yeah,
eat that every single day.
yeah. Pho is like my. I remember like I was born and raised in Hawaii,
Oh,
and we would
cool.
have pho like almost every weekend, at least once a week. And
There's pho in Hawaii? That's
yeah,
awesome.
there's a lot of Asians in Hawaii. There's because it was a place where a lot of like Asian immigrants made their way to America because it's
Mm-hmm.
closer, right? Like it's like the middle. It's
Yeah.
almost like the middle between like Asia and the U.S.
Right.
So Hawaii had a really good temperature. They also needed workers. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of Chinese, a lot of Chinese laborers, a lot of Japanese moved there. Some Vietnamese moved there, some Filipinos, but I don't know what the population percentages are. But yeah, there's pho in Hawaii because we have like a small Vietnamese
That's
population
cool.
there. But like here in Dallas, that's where I live right now. I live in Dallas, so there's a lot of Vietnamese in Dallas, and it's
Hmm.
pretty easy to get Vietnamese food, but like
Oh,
in a
that's
good way. Like
nice.
I really love Vietnamese food. Yeah.
That's nice.
Well, moving on to our next question. How did you get into the fandom then?
I don't know, to be honest. I used to draw, these feral sparkle dogs. I was
Mm-hmm.
very active on DeviantArt. And then for some reason I shift to Fur Affinity. I make
Sure,
an
sure.
account on Fur Affinity because some people on DeviantArt told me that, hey, you draw really good animals. Do you draw furries too? So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what's furries? And then they show me this link to Fur Affinity, and I make an account on Fur Affinity in 2010. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when I officially discover the furry community, and I just start drawing a lot of furry stuff, and then I'm getting more and more into it, and I guess that's how I got into the furry fandom.
So were you
Yeah.
someone who was like you were always interested in like animals, like when growing up?
I guess so. I used to really like Disney movies,
Mm-hmm.
movies with animal characters like
Like Lion
Lion
King.
King, Bambi, Fox and the Hound. And then,
Have you seen a lot of the recent stuff like well, quote unquote recent like Zootopia? Have you I'm guessing you've seen that too.
oh yeah, absolutely. I know. I think
Yeah.
they're making a second one too, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it's like in
That's
the works.
crazy.
Like I'm not sure if it's like confirmed, but I'm pretty sure they got to make a second one.
That's awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Yes,
Mhm.
Zootopia. I've watched that too.
Mhm.
Yes, and I also watch this really old Japanese anime called Eto Ranger. It's
Mhm.
about 12 zodiac animal character fighting in the folktales world. It's really fun. I like that.
Sure, sure. We can
And then
flash that on the screen as well because I think a
yes,
lot of our audience doesn't know about it. But I just looked briefly at like a Google image search, and yeah, it looks like one of those old school animes. I think it was
yes.
made in '95.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so old. It's really old. We watch with like Vietnamese dub.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
I
Oh
didn't I
wow.
didn't hear any Japanese audio at all. We watched
Mhm.
Vietnamese
Mhm.
dub, and it was still really good. I really enjoy it. I would watch it again actually. Maybe I'll watch it after the interview. Just
I'm kind
cuz.
of curious, what about your parents though? I mean, do they know what furry is, or like what were their opinions about like I guess like after you became a furry, like were they curious about what you were doing, what your hobbies were, or did you just say, "Oh, I'm just drawing animals"?
Okay. I don't think they care. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't I also don't tell them what a furry is, and they also don't ask me about it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but they know that I draw these furry characters, and they know I have a fursuit too. I mean, they take picture of
Wow,
me wearing the fursuit.
wow. Can you
Yeah,
share that
so
picture later with us?
oh yeah, absolutely. I'll show you the
Sure,
picture
sure.
later.
Yeah, we'll probably have to ask you for all the pictures at the end of the interview.
Yes, absolutely. So they
Mm-hmm.
know that I'm practice these furry activities. Go to a furry convention or draw these stuff or wearing fursuit.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really explain to them what it is, and they don't ask. So I
Wow,
don't think it matters. Yeah, and they're okay
do
with
they
it.
just think you're like a cosplayer, or they
Yeah,
think you're like your anime kind of thing?
yeah. I don't know. They don't ask, and I don't
Yeah,
want to. Yeah, I don't want to like go further. I mean, they're okay with it, so that's what it matters to me, that they're okay
yeah.
with it, and they
Your
yeah.
parents sound like my parents. They don't really know too much about furry. They just know I go
Mm-hmm.
to conventions and that I go drinking and I do bartending.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you know that about me. Yeah, I bartend sometimes
Oh, that's
whenever I'm
cool.
needed. I do some bartending at conventions, but like my parents, they don't really ask, and I don't really have to explain.
That's
Like, oh
true.
hey, I'm just gonna go to convention. I'm gonna go to Thailand for Thai tales or
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I think your situation sounds like mine.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. They don't ask, I don't say it, and they're okay with I'm
Hmm.
doing. They let me do it, so that's what it matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that I don't tell them when they ask me how much is my person, and I don't really
Oh
tell.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
you don't want to hear it, so I didn't tell them. So
That's
that's the
funny.
only
Yeah.
thing that they probably would disagree on me if I
Hmm.
tell them. It's like, why did you spend so much on such a thing? I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, but otherwise they're okay with. They're pretty cool. They don't mind. So I appreciate that. I know some
Hmm.
parents would be like, "What are you doing?" But mine's pretty chill. I'm grateful for that.
I think you're our third guest from Vietnam because we had Kusu and Bio already. Like we mentioned earlier, we interviewed those guys. I think it was earlier this year, that or last year. I can't believe I'm forgetting. But I think you're our third Vietnamese furry. So congratulations. I
Oh.
just wanted to ask, like you said you were born and raised in Vietnam, and can you tell us more about your hometown? Like how, what was it like, growing up over there?
It's a pretty busy city. I think it's a city that has a lot of people from different cities move in
Hmm.
because there's a lot of job opportunities.
We're
So
talking about
if
Ho Chi Minh, right?
yes, I'm talking about Ho Chi Minh City.
Hmm.
So it's very crowded. If you don't like crowded place, that might not be the place for you. But again, everywhere in Vietnam is kind of crowded, so I don't know.
Oh, right.
But yeah, if you there's a lot of job opportunities, and I think people are more open minded over there, and more welcoming. Like if you're from different countries, I think they
Oh,
will
really?
welcome you. Yeah.
Hmm. Do you think Vietnamese people overall are a very like welcoming people, or?
Yes, they're very
Hmm.
welcoming. They're very friendly.
Hmm.
So, I think because Vietnam in general is very big in tourism.
Yeah,
Two
yeah,
things: tourism and agriculture. That's two big
yeah.
things in Vietnam. So maybe that's why they're just very friendly to foreigners and tourists and whoever come
Hmm.
visit. That's what I would say about my country. For now, there's a lot of food too and cheap. So come
Oh
eat a
yeah, I
lot of
love it.
food.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. It is. It's.
Yes.
I heard Vietnamese food is over in Vietnam. Vietnamese food is very cheap and very delicious.
Yes, very accessible. You can find food pretty much anywhere. Just like
Hmm.
step out of your hotel or wherever you stay, just in like right at the corner, you can find food. You're not afraid to be hungry. And traveling around is pretty easy too. We
Hmm.
don't have public transportation. We have like service, like those grab bikes and
Yeah, yeah. I've seen those.
Uber. There's a lot of those around, so
Hmm.
you're not afraid to get lost or miss a ride. Yeah, it's easy to get around.
So you were there for how long though? Because you were born there, and then like how long did you stay in Vietnam before coming to the U.S.?
So I'm 30 years old right now,
Okay,
and I
I'm
moved.
28.
Oh,
Just to be
cool.
fair, anytime,
That's nice.
yeah. I don't like to let someone reveal their age without revealing my age. So I'm 20. I'll be 29 next month. So early birthday for me.
Whoa, we have the same birthday month. I'm gonna be
Awesome.
31 next year. Not next year, next month. Yes, November.
Hmm.
November team. Woohoo.
Awesome. November team A.
Let's see. I'm 30 right now, so I moved to
Hmm.
America 5 years ago. So that
Mm.
means I was in Vietnam for 25 years.
Wow. And that's a really
Yes.
long time. So, like, I think we're jumping a little bit, but it's okay to ask ahead of time. But, like, what was it like, your first reaction moving to the US for the first time? Because I think you said the first state you went to was New Mexico, right?
That's correct.
But, like, did you ever think, like, isn't New Mexico kind of like dry and like very, very hot, like, compared to, I think Vietnam is equally hot, but maybe more humid?
Oh, you got it right. It was very dry in New Mexico.
Yeah.
I had to spend 10 minutes a day just to put lotion on my skin.
Right, right.
Oh, it was so bad. My skin was all cracking up,
Hmm. Hmm.
adjusting to this new environment.
Hmm.
Um, but other than that, you were asking about the difference between Vietnam and the US.
Hmm. Hmm.
Probably the language is the first thing, right?
That was like
Obviously, the
the
language.
biggest thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
English 24/7 over here. I couldn't
Hmm.
speak Vietnamese because all I had was my husband and he can't speak Vietnamese. So it's like
Mm.
I moved and didn't have a lot of friends in New Mexico, so I was like I have to speak English most of the time, so that's the big
Right.
difference. The second difference is the vehicle. Here we drive
Oh yes,
cars.
yeah.
In
You have to.
Vietnam, it's
Yeah.
scooters.
Hmm.
Everything is scooter, so that's different. It's another shock. What else? Probably the weather in Vietnam is just too feel like one to me, but it's too like you have rainy or very sunny. But in
Hmm.
America, you have a full 4 seasons. So that's nice. That's what I
Correct.
like
Yeah.
about America.
Yeah, in most places you have like 4 seasons. Like it depends on where you live, of course. Like in Texas, our springs are pretty short, our fall is pretty short. But
Mm-hmm.
like if you go, I think if you go up north a little bit, like maybe like we're talking like maybe Pennsylvania, New York, I think they have like a proper full 4 seasons.
Oh, they
Like they
do?
have a summer,
Right.
fall, winter, and spring. It's more balanced, I think, in New York and Pennsylvania. Like when you go up north a little
Ah,
bit, like we're because Oklahoma and Texas, we're considered in the South. Our summers are probably longer, I
that's
think, just by a
true.
little bit.
Yeah.
And our summers are pretty hot compared to like New York summers, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, theirs seem pretty mild compared to like Oklahoman and Texan
Right.
summers. But based on what I know, at least, I never been to New York, but I've been to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
It gets cold up in the north, I'll say that. They have proper winters, though. Like they actually get snow. But like
Right.
in Texas, we don't really get snow all that often.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I used to live in Minnesota 1 year. I was studying abroad up
Oh,
there.
wow. Oh my
So
gosh.
they got 6 months of snow. That was very awful.
Mhm. That's crazy. Oh my god, that's probably like
Yes,
you probably was that your first time seeing snow?
that was my first time seeing snow. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It's fun
Yes.
for like the first hour, like you're playing around, but then after the first hour, like you get too cold or like it melts a little bit, or like, your clothes get kind of wet. I think
Yes.
so. Like it's fun, for a little bit,
Yes.
but then you realize that yeah, you know what, this is actually a little bit cold now.
Yes. Like, okay, that's enough now. Let's get in the house,
Yeah,
get
yeah,
warm. Yeah, you
yeah. Let's
got
get
it.
back in the house. So right now you live in Oklahoma and you mentioned that you live with your husband, I think. So how did you meet your husband in the first place?
Oh, he's actually kind of a furry too. So
Mhm.
we met because he commissioned me art several times. That's when we start talking.
Right.
Yes, I think he commissioned me like 3 or 4 pictures, and then we just start talking more and more, and then we felt like, oh, we can be a thing. And then he came to visit me in Vietnam, and then I came to visit him in New Mexico. And
Mhm.
then we just keep doing that for a whole year. And then we decide to get married so I can stay with him forever and don't have to travel back and forth so much more. And
That's awesome.
it's been 5 years now since we
Mhm.
married. So it's been going on so far so good. It's very good. I enjoy it.
That's an amazing story.
I'm very grateful that it turned out good. That you know how people say that internet relationship doesn't always work out because you might meet someone weird. But I'm
Mhm.
glad
Mhm.
that me and him we it works out perfectly. So
Right. And did you become a citizen like recently
oh
or
yeah, I became a citizen. Let's see, 3 years ago. three
Mhm.
years
Mhm.
ago. Yes.
Yeah, congratulations on that.
Well, thank you so much.
Do you have a dual citizenship or
Dual citizen. Yes.
gotcha. Yeah, yeah,
For
gotcha.
now,
Gotcha.
yes. They might ask me to pick one. I don't know.
Oh, okay, okay.
But so far, no, nothing yet. But I'm expecting that someday I might have to pick one.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, every country is a little bit different on their dual citizenship laws, yeah.
that's true.
This wasn't really in the questions, but maybe we can talk about it just a little bit. You mentioned that you're an artist. So, how did you get into art? Like, was this something you did as a kid or did you go to like school for it?
Oh yeah, I just have natural interest in art. I
Hmm.
draw a lot when I was a little kid. I just draw constantly, and I used to draw a lot of animals too. And probably because I watch so much Disney and I keep redrawing, tracing these Disney pictures, and I
Right.
keep doing it. And my parents also encouraged me to keep doing it. And I had a dream of becoming a Disney or Pixar artist. So I
Wow.
keep drawing and drawing. I enjoy drawing too. I think it's just a natural interest in me that I really
Hmm.
like to draw.
Right.
Yes.
Who's to say that maybe you still have a shot at, working at Disney?
I'm probably switching career right now. I'm
Oh,
going to
sure, sure.
school to become a rad tech, a radiology technologist.
Oh, sure, sure. So
Yes,
medical field, yeah.
I'm getting into the healthcare field now. I think it's more
Gotcha.
stable. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I
know,
think it is. Yeah.
actually during COVID, it was really hard to find a job. You know how COVID shut down a lot of business and they
Mm-hmm.
don't feel the need to advertise anymore. And that's when it hurts my career because I'm a graphic designer. I make posters to advertise things.
Oh, okay, okay.
And yes, and COVID really, really hurt me. And I'm sure it hurt
Yeah.
a lot of people too. And
Mm-hmm.
then that's how I get into healthcare. I'm like, healthcare,
Yeah.
no matter what happened, it'll still work. It's still running.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed. Yeah, like there's we like people get sick all the time, you know. So like
that's true.
we you
Yeah.
know we definitely need people to take care of other people. We need people we need to have a healthy
Mm-hmm.
population. Yeah.
Yeah, and then right now, you know how AI is taking over the world. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
it's really hard to function as an artist right now. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm switching. That's why. I mean, I
Yeah.
still do art occasionally, but as a hobby, not as a
Could I
main.
see your commission sheet like after the interview?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send it
Yeah,
to you.
sure, sure. Yeah, because I think it'd be interesting to see, you know, your art style and more of that. And
Of
of course, like we'll
course.
do the social media shout out later, so you guys can follow B when we get there. But link in the description, as everyone always says.
Awesome.
Um,
Thank you, Michael.
and then yeah, yeah. So you did some art as a kid, and now you're changing careers.
Mm-hmm.
I believe one other thing that Bio mentioned, and maybe it might have been Kusu actually, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like your engagement with like the fandom, like what are the things you were doing? Where they told me that you were trying to host a convention at some point or a big meetup. Can you tell me more about that?
Oh man, yes, that was not just my goal, but a lot of other me and some other local Vietnamese furry trying to
Mm-hmm.
do.
Mm-hmm.
But with me moving away, it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
hard to do. Um,
Have
so
you ever thought about like just being like a staff member, but like operating abroad? Like maybe you can provide funds, or like maybe you can do art for the con, or is like how's the situation of the convention right now, or is there nothing?
well, I still try to help in whenever the local furry in Vietnam trying to do something. Like
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
contribute with like small stuff like throwing in some art,
Hmm.
promotional art, or
Oh wow, yeah.
sharing links or talk to people.
Hmm.
That's all I can do for now. But if I want to do a really big convention, I'll probably have to be in Vietnam, which
Uh
is still my goal. I think when I finish my studying, then I'll come back and then
oh
try to get
really?
try to get the local furries to make
Hmm.
one big one.
I know we're kind of talking a lot about like we're talking a lot of hypotheticals and we're talking a lot about what ifs, but what was kind of like your inspiration for wanting to start a con? Like I know it hasn't happened yet, but like why do you want to start a con? I guess I should say.
Oh, that's simple because there's none in Vietnam. There's
Exactly. No,
none in
yeah.
Vietnam,
I
and
you know like it Vietnam could definitely use a con for sure.
yeah, before that we didn't make a convention because there was little demand. The
Hmm.
Vietnamese furry community was small. It was not a lot. So they didn't want to come. But now, I think in the past 2 years, it grew so much bigger. So
Hmm.
right now is probably a good time to start thinking about it.
Hmm.
And the other furries from different countries, the neighboring countries like Thailand or Malaysia, they ask about it
Correct. Correct.
too. So maybe it is probably a good time to start doing it now. Yeah.
Yeah, because like as you were saying, like yeah, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, they do have conventions, and of course
Mm-hmm.
other parts of it. Japan has a convention, South Korea, Indonesia has a convention, but the Indonesia convention, Hawaii, I think they're on hiatus right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure why, but I think it's like, you know, just I think they're still sorting things out. It could be a funding thing, but like
Yeah.
the neighboring countries in Southeast Asia have conventions,
Right.
and I think a lot of people would love to go to Vietnam. Like I think a lot of people, even in Asia, I feel like a lot of people haven't been to Vietnam yet. And again, it would give me an excuse to go. Like if there was a convention,
Yes,
I would love to go. I
exactly.
mean,
Yes.
I would still like to go, even if there's like a big meet. Like
Yes.
if like I mentioned Ruin Art, if he was gonna host like a big meet in, I think he's from Ho Chi Minh, right?
He's Ruin Art. He's from Hanoi.
Hanoi, yeah.
Yes.
If he hosts something in Hanoi, I would still love to go there. Well, I
Yes,
mean, you know
please
me,
go.
I can't speak Vietnamese, so like I
Oh,
would
they
he
speak
can he
English. Don't worry about
yeah,
it. Yeah.
Ruin Art speaks English. He can be my translator, so I'm really
Yes.
happy that he offered, he invited me to go earlier this
Mm-hmm.
year. But it seems to me that there's enough furries in Vietnam to sustain a con. But you were also telling me like you also do stuff for like what's it called again? The VietFur's Facebook group.
Yes, that's VietFur Facebook group. Yes.
Yeah, are you like one of the admins or?
Yes, I am. I am one of the admin.
So like were you one of the admins because like I guess I'm trying to ask like did you host any like meetups before you left Vietnam? Like cuz you seem pretty involved for someone who like if you became the admin and you wanted to start a convention like were you hosting a lot of like smaller meetups before like in the past or?
Yeah, we did small meetup in the past. I think it started in 2015. I think that's when
Mhm.
VietFur was created too. We
Mhm.
started having these offline meets a lot,
Mhm.
and I thought it was really fun. Like it's fun to see every time we do it, the number of people appear more and more. Is what
Right,
makes me
right.
keep doing it. Like if I keep doing it, there will be more furries. It'll be more fun.
So you were like one of the main organizers, I guess, like at that point in time.
Probably, yes, I think
At
so.
least for like your city, for your city where you lived, you were like one of the main organizers.
Yes, I would say VitFur in general is one of the main organizers. Not just me, I'm part of them. I know there are more
Right,
people
right.
that, yeah, do the work too. So I don't want to
Hmm.
say it's just me. I don't want to take all their credit.
Right,
But
right.
yes,
I still think that's really cool though, because like you said that like you still help out, like promotional art. Like you
yeah,
still help out via first, even though you're all the way in America, like you're still trying to grow your community where you came from.
yes, yes, it means a lot to me.
Hmm.
I moved to America. I love America, but I still appreciate my home country,
Hmm.
especially
Yeah, you.
with furries too. It's part of my life. So
Mhm.
I'm
Because that's where you started. Like you started being a furry in Vietnam, and that's where you're
yes,
from. You're from Vietnam. It's your culture. It's your home country. And I'm guessing
yeah,
your parents still live there, right?
yes, they do. They still live
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm. Do you go back to see them every now and then, or?
I went back last year in November,
Mm-hmm.
so that was nice. Before that, I couldn't go.
Did your parents ever tell you like, "Oh, you got so fat"? Did they ever say that? Cause
All the
that's
time.
I got fat in well I have a different excuse. I got fat in Taiwan, which is kind of rare, even though Taiwanese food is healthier than American food. I got fat in Taiwan because I was I think I said this, but I just finished my master's in translation
Oh
back in
wow,
August.
it's amazing.
So that's what like a few months ago. And the problem though is that I was working on my thesis for like 5 times, like 5 days out of the 7 days. I would just sit in my room and just just turn on my computer. Okay, I'm gonna work on my thesis for like the whole day, and sure enough I do. But like I was either ordering takeout or I was eating like unhealthy food, and I'm not walking, right?
Yeah,
I didn't have to go to class, so I wasn't
yeah,
walking, I wasn't exercising, so I was eating like fried chicken at night and drinking soda at night and like doing all this carb loading. And I got fat. So when I came back to America, like my parents like, "Oh man, you got kind of fat," and like I upload my pictures to Facebook, like, "Oh, I'm like having like fried chicken tonight in America because I haven't had like American fried chicken in a long time," and everyone's like, "Man, you look fat" or something like that. Yeah, I know, but I know it's like an Asian thing. Like I heard that they do it in like Chinese culture and Taiwanese culture. Like sometimes they say, "Hey, you got fat." I was like, "Oh my gosh."
yeah. That's just a skill that every Asian parents are really
Yes,
good at. They're
yes.
just, wow, you look really fat. You need to exercise. There's no I love you or anything. It's just
Yeah,
you look fat.
it's
You
so
look
true.
unhealthy.
That's
Yeah,
funny. Yeah.
yeah, I have that. Yes,
Hmm.
my mom, my sister did tell me that I look fat.
Hmm.
Like, well, it's hard to find veggies in America, Mom.
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
hard.
That
it's
is
so
true.
expensive.
You mentioned that you were hosting like local meets. When did you start doing that? Was that in like 2015 or 2016 or?
Yeah, it was in 2015, I think. That was when I just got back from study abroad in America. And then I discovered this VietFur page on Fur Affinity. And I just start messaging that page.
Oh,
like, hey,
interesting.
anybody want to meet up? And that's when we start an official meetup with the VietFur members.
That's actually so
and then
interesting.
it keeps going and going. Yes.
So I thought you were the creator of VietFur, but like, who was the original creator then? Like, if you joined later, like, who was the first creator or like creators of that page?
I think it's a fur. I think there were two. One is called Unaba, and then the second one is called Shinrin. I think Unaba left for real. Shinrin is still active. Yes.
Because that might be someone. I mean, maybe in a future interview that could be someone we talk about, and or it's kind of sad that they're not here right now to not talk with us about about VietFur, but I mean that might be like maybe we can contact them later for a future interview, because that might be more interest, that might be another interesting story. But going back, like, so you were hosting small meetups and stuff from from 2015 to 2020 before you left for the US, is that right?
I think, okay, so I moved to America in 2018, so that's when I stopped doing that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then other furs take over, and they're the one that continue doing those. Yeah, for me personally, I stopped doing in 2018.
It sounds like you were kind of like the pioneer, though. It sounds like you were doing a lot of efforts to like have these meetups. I'm guessing other meetups were going on in different parts of the country, but it sounds like you were doing a lot of effort though to start having like physical, IRL meetups.
Well, I don't want to take the credit. I think it's because we were small back then. So there were not a lot of furs who got a lot of free time to do it. And I just got a lot of free time and I tried to do it and try to get everybody together. And I enjoyed doing it. So yeah, it was fun time.
So like a lot of people probably know who you are. Well, maybe not the newer furs, but like the old, like the more like old guard, or like the older, more experienced furs. They probably know who you are then, I guess.
Well, I hope so. I hope they remember
Shout
me.
out to VietFur.
Yeah.
Do you know who she is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please don't forget me.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
It's
Yeah, the new ones probably don't know who I am, because it's just because I'm not active a lot anymore. I'm trying to focus on my study.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, I had to stop doing all of that. But again, if anyone local in Vietnam hosts something, I try to contribute and help them.
Yeah.
With more small stuff, at least with some art, because I like doing art still. Yeah.
Since you came to America, what was it like in 2018? You mentioned, like, have you attended any like American furcons?
Oh yeah, there were two convention in Oklahoma. One is near my house, like 30 minutes driving.
Oh wow, that's great.
And the other one is in Oklahoma City. It's very fun. That was my first time attending American Furcon. It was cool. There were so many people, so many fursuits. I was so happy.
How many people for each con?
I think 1,000 something.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. That's good for Oklahoma standards, I think.
It is compared to the other big one, not much, but still.
Yeah.
1,000 something. I was so happy to see so many fursuiters. I love seeing fursuiters. They're so fluffy and cute.
do you ever get like inspired by like, okay, you know how like, okay, we have like cons regularly in America, like does that give you kind of any kind of like inspiration to push yourself to like host a con in Vietnam, or like is there some things you want to implement, like what I'm trying to say?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those are my study guide to make my own furcon in the future. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I have to go to FurryCon more to see how they do it, because they obviously the more experienced people, right? Yeah.
Have you ever tried to like reach out to like the con organizers, or are you still kind of focusing more on like school right now?
Not yet. Yeah, I'm still trying to focus on school right now. At least this whole
Hmm.
first
Hmm.
year has been really rough. Everything is so
Hmm. Hmm.
new. You know, studying at 30
Hmm.
years old is not it's not easy.
Yeah. Plus, like, I guessing everything's in English, which is like your second language. So, like, you have to like be
Yes.
able to process everything in English,
Yes.
which can be that can definitely be a challenge. Like, I live in Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right now I'm in America, but I'm gonna go back to Taiwan tomorrow. And like, when I was doing my master's, like 80% of the materials in Chinese.
Oh yeah.
And again, Chinese is my second language. I'm not Chinese or Taiwanese, so like, it's a whole new language. So it's like it was so weird to go through the education experience, to go through my master's, and like all like the textbooks or whatever, like the PowerPoints, like 80 to 90% of everything was like in Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that extra layer of like processing I had to do, and it took me a long time to like get used to that.
Yeah, you know it. That's exactly what I want to, what I struggle with. Yeah, two languages
Yeah,
is
yeah.
every time the instructor says something, I have to process it twice because
Mhm.
I listen in English and then try to translate in Vietnamese. It is hard. Yeah.
So you're saying like you're getting like is it like a certificate in like radiology, was it, or?
Like it's a certificate in radiographer. It's called
Mhm. Oh, radiographer. Okay.
technologist.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
Like I'm only allowed to take X-ray pictures. I'm
Hmm.
not allowed to diagnose. That's a
Right,
radiologist
right.
job, which requires more schooling. Which I'm not gonna do that.
Hmm.
Not
Hmm.
yet. I guess.
If once you get like your certificate, like did you say that you would be ready to like go back to Vietnam, or did you want to still stay in America, or like what was the plan then?
Oh, America's my home for now.
Hmm.
So I'll probably go to Vietnam just to visit my family and friends.
Hmm.
And
Like I was mentioning for the convention, that's why. So like if you want to run a convention in Vietnam, like
oh,
were you thinking about like going back for a year to run it, or were you thinking about just going back for a month, or like how would that work out, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I would go back just for a few months to run that
Hmm.
convention.
Yeah, like maybe like a long vacation or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's correct. Yes, a long
Assuming
vacation.
your work lets you do that, but yeah, long vacation to like, I guess you would try to do the best to
Mm-hmm.
run things overseas, but then when the
Yes,
convention gets closer, you would go back like a month or two before the convention starts so you can
right.
physically be there, plan things, talk with people,
Yes.
I don't know, move some things around or something.
Yes, because I
Yeah.
know it's just not me. There will be other furs
Right,
that will
right.
do this. So
So we're probably talking to the future con chair of like VietFurcon or something like that.
yes, the name. Oh, we're
Yeah.
still thinking
Have you?
about the name.
Yeah,
It's
I was about
really
to ask.
hard.
Like, have you? So you guys haven't thought about a name yet?
Yeah, we're thinking about it. It's really hard so far.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
sure there are other fur groups that want to make a
Yeah.
furry convention too in Vietnam, and they are
Hmm.
also struggling with the name.
Right. Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
it sounds simple, but it's really difficult. Like just a
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's a brand.
Correct. Correct.
Is something short, but it needs to be memorable and easy to say and easy to
Yeah.
understand. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's still in process right now.
Do you guys already have like translators, to help like attract foreign furries? Because like maybe people from Malaysia or like Thailand want to go. So do you guys already have like a
Oh
translation
yeah,
staff to help with like the website and everything?
yes, absolutely.
Oh wow,
Yes,
awesome.
I think most Vietnamese furries prefer to speak English right now.
Really,
At
really.
least the younger one, they just
Right,
speak
right.
English a lot. I'm like, oh come on guys, don't forget your mother language, Vietnamese. Come on. Yeah,
Wow, wow,
we're
yeah,
hosting a
yeah,
Vietnamese convention here, not an English
yeah.
convention. So, but yeah,
Hmm.
they won't have problems translating things to English.
We may need to have like a second interview with you, like when you get closer. Like I mean, we don't have to reveal everything. You don't have to tell us everything, but like it sounds like we might need to interview you like maybe 3 years down the road when you have like more progress
Oh,
on the
wow.
convention, because that would be really really cool to like say like, okay, like this is the episode before the con, and then like maybe 3 4 years down the road, okay, now now we're here with the, now that we had the Vietnamese furry convention, what are your thoughts, because we interviewed you like 3 years ago. So I think we might need to bring you back to the podcast whenever it happens.
Oh, I appreciate the thoughts. That puts a lot of pressure on me now that, oh no, I
Oh my
have to
god,
do
yeah,
really
I
good
mean,
now. Otherwise, he won't put me on a podcast.
5 years down the road when there's like a Vietnamese furry convention, we're gonna like
Yes,
laugh when we listen to this episode. Like
yes,
this is like the start of the
yes.
Vietnamese furry convention. I see it as a possibility. Like I think like 2020 was COVID and 2021 was still COVID, and
Mm-hmm.
2023 I think the numbers are going down. Don't quote me on this. I might be wrong, but I think the variants are getting less deadly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think like COVID seems to be largely over, and I think we're returning to normalcy. And
I
so like I
agree.
think now, in 2023, 2024, 2025, I think this is a good time to like restart the, conventions, right? Like I think 2020, 2021, a lot of conventions just shut down, but then like now coming back in 2023, a lot of conventions are back.
That's true. Everybody is very much in need of conventions because
Hmm.
everybody's
Hmm.
been away from each other for so long, for two,
Hmm.
3 years. So this is a perfect time to start a convention because people really need that social and interaction. So yeah, you're right. This is a good time to get back to it.
We really only have like a couple more questions for you. Thank you so much, B, for sitting down and talking to me in my last 12 hours in Texas, I guess, and then I got to ship out back to Taiwan. So this is really a treat to talk to you. My next question is like, so you don't really see yourself going back to Vietnam anytime soon, right? Like your life is in America. Like after you get your certificate, you'll probably stay here like permanently with your husband, right?
That's true. That's true.
Hmm.
Yes, I would have to do my school for at least another year, and
Hmm.
then I'll try to come back to Vietnam occasionally to visit my family because they're still there,
Yeah.
and I still have friends in Vietnam too. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, but permanently, my life, my home, my career, probably America.
If you ever come down to Dallas, let me know.
Oh yeah,
Because like,
absolutely.
I mean, there's a lot of Vietnamese here. I mean, we have like, I feel like there are more Vietnamese in Dallas than Chinese people actually. But yeah, but I mean, you would feel at home here, I think.
Yes.
And then the other question was like, this is kind of like a because you're someone with a really unique background. Yeah, you really remind me of Kofu because he's a Taiwanese furry, and he grew up in he was born and raised in Taiwan, and then he later moved to the U.S. I forget which year, but he did
Oh,
eventually get his citizenship, and he lives in North Carolina, I think. And he
okay.
was actually the very first person we interviewed,
Oh,
because
nice.
he had like that unique perspective. Like he was born and raised in Asia, but then now he lives in the U.S. And from my understanding, he likes it more in America, so he's probably going to stay here permanently.
Right.
I mean, otherwise he probably wouldn't get his citizenship, right? So he's probably going to be here for the long term. And he eventually, like, occasionally, he goes back to Taiwan to go to conventions, or he goes to see his family. So you remind me a lot about him, and I guess
Yeah.
that's like the setup for my question, which is like, what kind of advice would you give to Vietnamese people, or maybe Vietnamese furs, whatever you want to say, if they want to live and work in the U.S.? Like, what kind of advice, like two or three pieces of advice that you can tell us? And that's probably going to be our last question.
Okay. So first of all, speak English. Really good.
Speak
Get
English.
really good at speak English. Yes, which I don't think they will have problem with.
Hmm.
The young generation nowadays, most of
Hmm.
them, I would say like 90% of them speak English. So
Yeah.
that's probably not gonna be an issue. Secondly, know how to drive a car because that's the main transportation vehicle
Right.
here.
Right.
Yes, there is public transportation, but I do my groceries and I have to drive 30 minutes. If
Hmm.
you take
Hmm.
a bus, it's gonna take 2 hours. So know how to drive a car. And then thirdly, really reevaluate your goal, like why you come here. Is your job really worth it? Because a 20 hours flight is a very big change. A whole completely new culture, completely new environment. Everything's different. So really think about why you come here before you do it. I think that's it.
Awesome. It's a journey. I mean, I've had the opposite experience where, well, I'm someone who, you know, again, I'm based in Taiwan and I'm not Taiwanese, and I echo a lot of your statements. You know, I learn the language, speak the language, learn the culture, you know, get used to this new environment. That's what I had to do for 5 years, and I don't see myself leaving Taiwan anytime soon. So I'm going to go back to Taiwan and find work over there. But I guess to simplify it, like I echo a lot of the statements. I agree with a lot of what you said. You know, like I said, I think you have like an amazing sort of like background. You have such an interesting background. And I think you have like a lot of good insights as for someone who has, you know, born and raised in Vietnam and now living in America. And we could probably keep the interview going on for at least 5 hours, I feel. But like I said, like, you know, we have limited time, and that might just be, you know, another episode. We can probably do something in the future. We can definitely keep in contact.
Absolutely.
So that was actually our last question for this interview. Now we like to do our social media shout out. This is where you can just say whatever social media you want us to follow you. So if you have Twitter, if you have, you know, Facebook, Instagram, just go ahead and just like shout it out.
All right, guys. If you would like to follow my socials, I have a few. I put everything in my link tree. So if you like, just follow my link tree at Shibebun. It's SHIBEBUN. Shibebun. It's like a Shiba and a bunny. And,
oh my God. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And also a small shout out to my Vietnamese furry group, which is called VietFur. Mostly we're on Facebook. It's Facebook/. VietFur official.
I think I'm in the group. Am I? I remember trying to get in. I might have to like double check that, but yeah, maybe you can send me the link later.
Okay, we have a page, so you can see it public without having to be a member.
Oh, gotcha. Sure. Do you want to say it like a Vietnamese message to your you know, to your friends or to your parents or anything?
I'll say something in Vietnamese, I guess. Xin chào mọi người yêu thú bông. Nếu bạn muốn tìm hiểu thêm về cộng đồng furry ở châu Á thì bấm đăng ký kênh của Michael và Burger nha.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. we'll post this, you know, we'll let you know when this is posted, and we can share this in the group. And, you know, again, thank you so much, B, for your time. Like, as it is, we have met under extraordinary circumstances. Like, again, like I leave for Taiwan tomorrow morning. Got to wake up at stupid o'clock.
Goodness.
It is so nice to finally meet you after talking to you for like 8 months or almost a year, I think. I can't even remember. And then we finally get to, you know, talk and have this conversation. So thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast.
I want to say thank you, Michael and Burger, for dedicating their time to creating this channel. Thank you, Michael, for being such a great host, and thank you, Burger, for your amazing editing work to make us look really good. I think it's very meaningful that you guys give us Asian furs a platform to speak about ourselves and our community, so we really appreciate it. Subscribe to Fox and Burger Podcast, especially if you are curious about the Asian fur community around the world. And I hope we get to meet each other at like a convention or somewhere.
Yes. You're
really
always
nice.
welcome to come to Taiwan. If you love Japan is nice.
Yes.
Otherwise, like whenever, just please keep us up to date on any kind of progress for the Vietnamese convention. That would be really cool, and would love to see you either there. But if I'm back in the States, I'll let you know as well. I don't know if I can drive up to Oklahoma, but you're always welcome to come to Dallas.
Yes, absolutely.
So I lost the ability to drive. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I lived in, you know, Taiwan for so long that it's a little bit hard for me to drive now.
Oh, it's scary.
I had to kind of drive around the neighborhood, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it's scary to drive in America. We have really high speed limit here because the space is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
so big, you know. The road is just so wide and long, so yeah, I get you.
Yeah. So this has been another episode of the Fox and Burger podcast. I am your host, Michael the Mancha Fox, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye guys.